So let's go ahead and do some examples of what's going on. So example 1, this one has sample data, and again, we're doing a T interval. You do a study of hypnotherapy to determine how effective it is increasing the number of hours of sleep subjects get each night. You measure hours of sleep for 12 subjects with the following results. Construct a 95% confidence interval for the mean number of hours slept for the population. Assume it's normal from the data that you took. And here is your data. All right, I'm not given a population standard deviation, or it doesn't say there's a known standard deviation. So that is my first clue that I have to do a T interval. I could do it by hand, but again, that would be really time consuming. I'm using the value from the table over the sample standard deviation, and I square root the sample size and I get that number. And then I subtract it from the sample mean that I'm given from the descriptive statistics. This is a really difficult way to do this, and I don't want to do it by hand. So I'm going to use Minitab. So I'm going to go to Minitab, and I'm going to show you how to do this. So in Minitab, I have my sleep hours, and I put them in column C3. And your column may be different based on how much data you've done that day. So I've got it in there. I want to make sure it's correct. And it doesn't really matter if it's in order, but I have it in order. So I'm going to go to Stat, Basic Statistics, and I'm going to go to one sample T. Why am I going to one sample T? I'm going to one sample T because I haven't used this one before, because we've always had a population standard deviation. Now we don't. So because we don't have that population standard deviation, we go to one sample T. So I'm going to change this. Remember, you can do one or more samples, or you can do summarized data. I was given a data set, so I need to make sure it's on one or more samples. I click in this box here, and then I'm going to double click on sleep hours. Even though I have other data sets, that's the one I'm going to do the analysis on. I go to Options, and I'm going to change this to 95% because I'm doing a 95% confidence level. Again, mean does not equal the hypothesized mean. So I hit OK, and I hit OK again. So I have all my data here. I have my sample size, which is 12. I have my sample mean, which is 8.983. I have my sample standard deviation, which is 1.290. I have my 95% confidence interval. So I have 8.163 is the lower bound, and 9.803 is my upper bound. And again, I'm going to check that 95% with the problem to make sure I have the right level of confidence. So let's go back to this. And again, in the PowerPoint, I have the Minitab instructions so you understand how to complete it. And I even have, the output for it. But now let's conclude it. So my conclusion is I can estimate that 95% confident that the true population mean of sleep hours is between 8.163 and 9.803. Again, my lower bound is 8.163 and my upper bound is 9.803. Again, lower and upper bound. To find the error bound margin, I'm going to take my sample mean and I'm going to subtract it from my lower bound to get 0.820, or I'm going to take my upper bound and subtract it from my sample mean to get 0.820. The error bound margin is 0.820.